2017, and he came back to me because he was really well connected with blockchain community, and they study what the blockchain could do, what's the dApp, and they realize when you run dApp, actually you need an environment to run dApp. What's that environment? It's called OS.
Inside this alpha release, we do have the first Elastos browser, and we provide the development framework alpha version for DApp developers to work on. Also, we have embedded the DApps like a wallet and the GIP for third-party HTTP login, and if any blockchain again. As the name says itself, we have 100 projects that we have already listed here that we're looking for the startups and the entrepreneurs to build this 100 dApps. Project is called Empower 35, which would be, basically the operational team for Cyber Republic. People from different backgrounds, like, they can take care of the investment, the legal part, and, marketing design, you name it. And we have picked that 100 projects or even more. So Elastos is actually the first one to do that because we just have the confidence. Just like Ron said, we're building the real dApps.
在这儿宣布一下，明天上午呢，我们就开始跟彼得大陆一起联合挖矿啊！我们将让对，对。2017, and he came back to me because he was really well connected with blockchain community, and they study what the blockchain could do, what's the dApp, and they realize when you run dApp, actually you need an environment to run dApp. What's that environment? It's called OS.
Inside this alpha release, we do have the first Elastos browser, and we provide the development framework alpha version for DApp developers to work on. Also, we have embedded the DApps like a wallet and the GIP for third-party HTTP login, and if any blockchain again. As the name says itself, we have 100 projects that we have already listed here that we're looking for the startups and the entrepreneurs to build this 100 dApps. Project is called Empower 35, which would be, basically the operational team for Cyber Republic. People from different backgrounds, like, they can take care of the investment, the legal part, and, marketing design, you name it. And we have picked that 100 projects or even more. So Elastos is actually the first one to do that because we just have the confidence. Just like Ron said, we're building the real dApps.
在这儿宣布一下，明天上午呢，我们就开始跟彼得大陆一起联合挖矿啊！我们将让对，对。2017, and he came back to me because he was really well connected with blockchain community, and they studied what the blockchain could do, what the and they realized when he came back to when he run that, he was really well connected with blockchain community, and they studied what the OS, what the and they realized when he came back to when he run that, he was really well connected.
And we provided the development framework after working for DAPT development to work on. Also, we have created the DAPT like wallet and we provide the login after working for DAPT development to work on. The main service itself, we have one project that we call the login that we're looking for the startup and the entrepreneurs to put this one service itself, project is called unparalleled. Basically the operational team for separate topics. People from different backgrounds, like, they can take care of the investment, the legal part, and, marketing design, you name it. And we have taken that 100 projects or even more. So Elastos is actually the first one to do that because we just have the confidence. Just like Ron said, we're building the real dApps.
在这儿宣布一下，明天上午呢，我们就开始跟彼得大陆一起联合挖矿啊！我们将让对，对。2017, and he came back to me because he was really well connected with blockchain community, and they studied what the blockchain could do, what the dApp, and they realized when you run dApp, actually you need an environment to run dApp. What's that environment? It's called OS.
Inside this alpha release, we do have the first Elastos browser. And we provided the development framework alpha version for DAPT developers to work on. Also, we have embedded the DAPTs like a wallet and the GIP for third-party ICP login and if any blockchain again. As the name says itself, we have 100 projects that we have already listed here that we're looking for the startups and the entrepreneurs to build this 100 dApps. Project is called Empower 35, which would be, basically the operational team for separate public. People from different backgrounds, like, they can take care of the investment, the legal part, and, marketing design, you name it. And we have taken that 100 projects or even more. So Elastos is actually the first one to do that because we just have the confidence. Just like Ron said, we're building the real dApps.
在这儿宣布一下，明天上午呢，我们就开始跟彼得大陆一起联合挖矿啊！我们将让对，对。2017, and he came back to me because he was really well connected with blockchain community, and they studied what the blockchain could do, what the dApp, and they realized when you run dApp, actually you need an environment to run dApp. What's that environment? It's called OS.
Inside this alpha release, we do have the first Elastos browser, and we provide the development framework alpha version for DApp developers to work on. Also, we have embedded the DApps like a wallet and the GIP for third-party HTTP login and if any blockchain again.
As the name says itself, we have 100 projects that we have already listed here that we're looking for the startups and the entrepreneurs to build this 100 dApps. Project is called Empower 35, which would be, basically the operational team for Cyber Republic. People from different backgrounds, like, they can take care of the investment, the legal part, and, marketing design, you name it. And we have picked that 100 projects or even more. So Elastos is actually the first one to do that because we just have the confidence. Just like Ron said, we're building the real dApps.
在这儿宣布一下，明天上午呢，我们就开始跟彼得大陆一起联合挖矿啊！我们将让对，对。2017, and he came back to me because he was really well connected with blockchain community, and they studied what the blockchain could do, what's the dApp, and they realized when you run dApp, actually you need an environment to run dApp. What's that environment? It's called OS.
Inside this alpha release, we do have the first Elastos browser, and we provide the development framework alpha version for DApp developers to work on. Also, we have embedded the DApps like a wallet and the GIP for third-party HTTP login and if any blockchain again.
As the name says itself, we have 100 projects that we have already listed here that we're looking for the startups and the entrepreneurs to build this 100 dApps. Project is called Empower 35, which would be, basically the operational team for Cyber Republic. People from different backgrounds, like, they can take care of the investment, the legal part, and, marketing design, you name it. And we have picked that 100 projects or even more. So Elastos is actually the first one to do that because we just have the confidence. Just like Ron said, we're building the real dApps.
在这儿宣布一下，明天上午呢，我们就开始跟彼得大陆一起联合挖矿啊！我们将让对，对。2017, and he came back to me because he was really well connected with blockchain community, and they studied what the blockchain could do, what's the dApp, and they realized when you run dApp, actually you need an environment to run dApp. What's that environment? It's called OS.
Inside this alpha release, we do have the first Elastos browser, and we provide the development framework alpha version for DApp developers to work on. Also, we have embedded the DAPPs like a wallet and the GIP for third-party HTTP login and if any blockchain again.
As the name says itself, we have 100 projects that we have already listed here that we're looking for the startups and the entrepreneurs to build this 100 dApps. Project is called Empower 35, which would be, basically the operational team for Cyber Republic. People from different backgrounds, like, they can take care of the investment, the legal part, and, marketing design, you name it. And we have picked that 100 projects or even more. So Elastos is actually the first one to do that because we just have the confidence. Just like Ron said, we're building the real dApps.
在这儿宣布一下，明天上午呢，我们就开始跟彼得大陆一起联合挖矿啊！我们将让对，对。
Ah, yeah. Hey, see it. I'm not sure you can see it. You turn it on. You didn't turn it on. All right, here we go.
All right.
Yeah, can everyone, anybody hear us? No.
Can people hear us on the meetup? Zoom?
Yes, they can hear us.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, thank you for coming. So, as we did yesterday, so we're gonna give a quick update on the what we did yesterday. It's a long day, very long day.
Yeah. I guess, do we want to wait a few minutes or can we start, Kevin?
I think we can start. Yeah.
You can start.
We can start. Yes.
How many people do we have on the Zoom meeting?
It's 11. I can give you a host. I cannot. Anyway, we can start.
Okay. I see that there's a few people on YouTube.
Yeah, they can hear us. Cool.
Okay, cool. I guess for here, do we want to project something on the screen, Kevin? Through HDMI or something? It doesn't matter, but
doesn't matter. I can do.
Okay. All right. So we're just gonna get started here. For those of you who were able to join on our meetup yesterday, we went over the anniversary, what the news were, what all the developments, all the future releases that are coming up, and things like that. And if you're one of the first 15 people who actually joined Zoom meeting and signed up the form, congratulations, you got a free t-shirt. So I guess Kevin will be contacting these people in the next few days. So, and then you'll get your free t-shirt, Elastos t-shirt. All right, I can just get started on the recap here. This shouldn't, do we want to play the video again? Just because we just got started, Kevin? Yes. And then after that, I can go over the recap. All right, we have a recap video for everyone that we're gonna play, so stay tuned. Let us know if you can hear the sound. That's playing.
2017, and he came back to me because he was really well connected with blockchain community, and they studied what the blockchain could do, what's the dApp, and they realized when you run dApp, actually you need an environment to run dApp. What's that environment? It's called OS.
Inside this alpha release, we do have the first Elastos browser, and we provide the development framework alpha version for DApp developers to work on. Also, we have embedded the DApps like a wallet and the GID for third-party HTTP login and if any blockchain game.
As the name says itself, we have 100 projects that we have already listed here that we're looking for the startups and the entrepreneurs to build this 100 dApps. Project is called Empower 35, which would be, basically the operational team for Cyber Republic. People from different backgrounds, like, they can take care of the investment, the legal part, and, marketing design, you name it. And we have picked that 100 projects or even more. So Elastos is actually the first one to do that because we just have the confidence. Just like Ron said, we're building the real dApps.
在这儿宣布一下，明天下午呢，我们就开始跟彼得大陆一起联合挖矿啊！我们将让对，对。
Okay, if people can hear me again on the Zoom meeting, can you say yes? Okay, yes. We got TI, so thanks for that. All right, so I'm just gonna go over all the news and developments, everything that came out of the anniversary for people who couldn't attend. For everyone who couldn't attend here in Chiang Mai. So I have a few points here. Obviously, this doesn't include everything because the anniversary went on for the entire day. So it started at 9 and then went to, I believe, 12, and then there was 2 hours break for lunch, and then from 2 to 5, it was all about the ecosystem project. So they had a lot of in-depth discussions about their projects, like BitGame, ViewChain, WeFilm Chain, IOEX. So if you wanted to watch the anniversary event, that's already available on our YouTube channel. So if you wanted to watch everything, I think that's around 6 hours worth of video content. So you can decide to watch everything. So feel free to do that. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and recap, sort of do a 10-minute recap of all the news. So first thing is we talked about was the Smart Web Alpha release. As we've been saying, we've been preparing for the alpha release for a long time now. And as part of the alpha, the software development kit was, it includes the software development kit. And all of this will be available on GitHub and also the Cyber Republic developer portal. So people can go there and check it out and start from there. There's also some demo applications like the mobile wallet, the blockchain game, and the end-to-end demo and a messenger app. So that actually that's more than 3 demo apps, but you get the idea. There's lots of code for people to play around that you can start developing for Trinity browser, and you can run these applications. If you're a developer, you can build it yourself, and then you can run it on your own mobile device. Now, to start with, as part of the alpha, the Trinity browser is only available for the Android devices, so you can't really install it on iOS, because that is something that will be coming in the future. But then again, this is just an alpha, so there is bound to be some bugs. Just take this as a way for you to get acquainted with the code, how to develop an application. You can get started with that right away. So that's the Smart Web Alpha release. The next thing was the Cyber Republic. There's a lot of news that came for the Cyber Republic side of things. First of all, we've done a complete rebrand of the website. So if you go to cyberrepublic.org, you will actually see a brand new website with some cool animations and just about Elastos in general and how we're building this new republic on the internet. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we introduced CR100 project. What this is that we have created, and this is all included on the cyberrepublic.org website. So what this is we have 100 different projects that are available for any teams to tackle on. So what you can do is you can browse through these 100 projects, and every one of these is maybe like a page long, where it will give you the description, the category for each of these projects, and then the description of the project, the problem that it's trying to address, the solution that it contains, and then the Elastos technologies that are being used, and the fund, the budget for every one of these projects is at least 100,000 USD in Ella, payment in Ella. So if you have a team or if you wanted to get started, you can start looking around and then sign up on our cyberrepublic.org website and then apply for these as a team, and then we can go from there. This is still in its alpha release, obviously, and also you don't have to, just because someone else already applied for the same project, it doesn't mean that you can't apply for the same project twice. So feel free to apply if you are really interested in that same project, and then basically have your own proposal after that, with the modifications, like with how, because these 100-page descriptions that are already there, but these serve more as an outline. So it's not like you have to follow them beat by beat. So you can propose your own solution to this and see how you can use Elastos to develop that application. And the entire workflow of this, from how it's going to look like from the idea stage to proposal to proof of concept to actually submitting your white paper as a team, and all the way to production and post-production, all of that workflow, we already have some points, but we are going to release a detailed version of that in the next few weeks. So for now, though, you can already start looking into these projects and see how you can help. And if you don't see the projects that you like, there's also a button at the very end of the page where you can submit your own project proposal. So that's entirely fine too. All right, so the next thing that we talked about was the Empower 35 program. This is so to start with initially, it's called an Empower 35 because we have, this is more geared towards the non-developers. So the CR100, it usually contains a team of developers, who are working to develop these applications. And then as we know, as a first, startup, when you're just getting started, you might run into many problems, like on the legal side or on the promotion side or on the technical side, or whatever the case may be, right? So these Empower 35 people will be able to help with all the teams, whoever is tackling these CR100 projects, actually help help these projects make some videos, write some articles, because we have writers, video makers, everything, designers, right? So we will be able to, you will be able to utilize and talk to and there will be a smooth process on how you can do this in the future. But the goal is to have CR100 project and Empower 35 program work collaboratively together to get the best possible applications out there, so that we can try to gain mass adoption as soon as possible. So that's the idea behind Empower 35. So if you're a non-developer, you can also go to our Empower 35 page, and then actually there are already positions open and you can apply for them, and we will start looking at the applications in the next few weeks. And you might see that there's 10 positions open for the Evangelist, and these are more lead evangelists, so to speak, because these people who are going to be part of this Empower 35 program actually will help other local evangelists who couldn't be part of the Empower 35 program, and they can still get help. And these 10 people, 10 evangelists, can actually have their own team and work with them. So there's a lot of opportunities for everyone, so to speak. So that's the idea behind CR100 and Empower 35. So this is a way for us to get off the ground as quickly as possible, to reach more audience as efficiently as possible, and also get the applications out on Elastos to more people to gain traffic. Because at the end of the day, you might have the best tech in the world, but if there are no applications, well, that really doesn't matter. So that's the idea behind this. So we are really going to be pushing these two programs. Another program that we released was the quarterly training program. This is a week-long program, and all the outline of this program is already available on the Cyber Republic website as well, where we fly you out to, as an example, to Silicon Valley in San Francisco, and then you get to stay for a week, and then we basically teach you about Elastos. I give you, have some public speaking courses for you, and it will be technical, yes, but it will also be heavily non-technical as well. So we're trying to empower these new evangelists that we would like these people to speak to their local community in their own language on behalf of Elastos. So that's the quarterly training, and we'll try to have these quarterly so that people can apply for these training programs, and then actually interact with the core team and everyone, and then go from there. So that's another one. Some of the things that I don't want to go into too many details, but that are also available on the Cyber Republic website, is we have a new developer portal. So we'll be updating that in the future. So that will be our main source of information. Anything that has to do with Elastos, we want everyone to go through Cyber Republic, because we'll try to put in every information on cyberrepublic.org so that you have one website to remember, instead of the information is all spread out. There's a problem with the information architecture that Elastos has, and we're trying to address that problem by providing everything on Cyber Republic. So with that said, we also have the Team Finder feature, or some of the features like Team Finder and things like that. So feel free to check that out. The next thing I wanted to move on to was the ceremony handover. So if you remember correctly, for the Ella Genesis block, 33 million were pre-mined, and out of 33 million, like half of them, 16 million, were handed over to the Cyber Republic Fund as part of the anniversary ceremony. So that officially belongs to Cyber Republic, and Cyber Republic, this fund will be used to fund the CR100 project and the Empower 35 program and everything in between. That's the ceremony handover. The other thing that came out of that is we also have the Constitution for Cyber Republic, and even that Constitution is not final. It is in its alpha stage, and we will be releasing that to the public for more feedback. If you wanted to contribute and see how you can improve, feel free to propose, like, feel free to ask some questions about the Constitution, but also maybe propose your solution, because we need those wide range of eyes so that we can improve the Constitution. And then when we go production with the Constitution, which will likely be next August, so we have a 1-year interim period, that's when the Constitution kicks in for Cyber Republic, and that's when we'll try to have everything automated through voting and all that kind of stuff. So to start with, because there are going to be no voting, at least for the next year for the Cyber Republic, we have three members in the interim period for the Cyber Republic Council members, and these are some of you know all of them most likely. They are Kevin and Faye and Su Yipeng. So they will be handling the Cyber Republic operations. And they will be the council members. They will serve as the interim council members at least until next August. The goal is to have the voting system ready by June of next year, so that people can actually apply to be a council member then, and then we'll be able to vote for anyone out there whoever wants to be part of the council or the secretariat, whatever the case may be. All of these will be voted in, and it will be the new Cyber Republic, because people will be voting for these delegates that will be representing you, and how to use the Elastos ecosystem fund, the Cyber Republic fund, and how we can improve Elastos in the future. That's the goal behind this new republic that we're building. All right. So last but not least. Merge mining was announced. We will have a lot more details in the near future about this, but it was announced that actually starting sometime today, merge mining will begin with Bitmain mining pools. So it was originally on the roadmap. If you see, it was we're trying to do that by the end of the year, but obviously we're 4 months early. So that's really good news for everyone, because that means that Elastos blockchain will be secured by the hash power, by sharing Bitcoin's hash power. So it will share the same security that Bitcoin has, in order to avoid any sort of 51% attacks that keep on happening out there. And this is because we're still on our alpha stage, and as you know, we do mining with POW plus DPoS consensus. So what that means is the POW is done, and that will be merge mined, and these miners will be able to mine these blocks. But there's also the DPoS side of things, and that part is still in active development. And these are the arbitrators, and because of that, it's only being released to it's not completely open to public. So if you are not joining some of the Bitmain mining pools, then you likely cannot mine Ella, because a lot of this will need to be tested thoroughly, because no one, as far as I know, this sort of new consensus with POW plus DPoS has not been done before, and it's still not complete. So in order to secure that further, in order to make sure that everything works before we roll it out to production, it is not available to public. It will be eventually, but not right now. It's only, if you wanted to mine Ella, you would have to go through Bitmain mining pools. So that is really exciting news. And like I said, more details to follow in the next few days. But I think that's pretty much everything from the anniversary. Yeah, like I said, there are lots of video content on YouTube, like for the live stream anniversary event. You can check out our DApp partner slides and their presentation. So a lot of new information actually. So feel free to check that out. But now I think we'll be moving to the questions.
Yeah, and it's my honor. Like today, you can see we got a lot of people here. They are all most of them are coming from the Chinese core team, And also it's the only time we get together actually, right, KP? So let me take 1 minute to introduce all of them so you can know who is in charge of what. Of course, you know Ron, right? And I'm from our two founders. Yeah, I believe you know them. And Clarence, I believe you know him either. Not two, right? Because both of us working in Cyber Republic, based in San Francisco. And KP, of course, he's a big guy. Sung Zhijun is currently working on the ecosystem, based in Shanghai. And Li Heng, he's the CEO, based in CEO for Elastos, based in Beijing. And Rebecca, she's also very famous. She's based in Beijing and in charge of cyber public security. And Niu Jinyu, he's a leader of the Shanghai developer team, based on Shanghai and also focus on the OS. And Yu Shunan, I tried to figure out your English name, but I didn't get it. He's based in Beijing, focus on the blockchain. And Chen Hao, he's our PR manager, working based in Beijing, focusing on the Chinese team. Okay, so now you can see you have all the core team leader here. So if you have any question, you should ask on the chat window. I think we got some of them, right?
So your chat looks different compared to mine.
Really?
What's that last message?
Last message was from Chris Holman. So this look awesome. Not a question, but anyway. So I'm interested in becoming an evangelist, but I don't know. I don't have a specific development training. What is the best thing to learn or do to be eligible to do an evangelist training? Like, where do I start? KP, you can answer this.
Yeah. Before I answer that, I'm just wondering why I can't see that chat here, but that's fine.
I don't know.
I see the last chat that I see is from Ant-Man.
Yeah, ask for permission.
To you directly? Did he send the question to you directly, Kevin?
No, he sent to all panelists.
That's weird.
He sent to panelists. He
maybe
didn't send to attendee. Yeah, but anyway, I can repeat the question.
No, yeah, I got the question. So from next time, if people can, instead of sending to all panelists, because that only goes to Kevin, if you could send to all panelists and attendees, that way we can all see the questions so that we can answer this question. Anyways, okay, so it looks like I think Chris just forwarded that to other attendees.
Yeah, he repeated the question.
I'm gonna answer that.
Okay.
So if you wanted to become an evangelist, the first thing that you can do now, actually go to cyberrepublic.org, and you can, it depends like what you are interested in doing. If you have a developer background, that's even better, but it doesn't matter to us, because as long as you can you can talk about Elastos, you can organize your local community members or online and basically get people interested in Elastos. That's the first mindset that you should have, because only from there, then you can start learning about what Elastos is all about, what it's trying to do, how it's different compared to other blockchain projects out there. And then after all that, after you're prepared, then if you wanted to be part of the Empower 35 program, which you can be part of, there's actually a position for evangelists, so you can apply for that. That's the first step, right? But you don't have to do that if you don't want a lot of responsibilities, because these Empower 35 program, these are going to be pretty heavy. So you're going to be involved in a lot of daily activities that is involved with Cyber Republic and the CR100 project. So you will be interacting a whole lot. So if you are up for the challenge of not just organizing your local meetups, but also being able to work for Cyber Republic in general as an evangelist, as a lead evangelist, then we certainly encourage you to do that, and we can talk further after you apply. The other way that you can do that is, you can, as some people have already been doing, even before the Empower 35 program, they've been organizing lots of local meetups in their own community, in their own country, region, whatever. And you can do something like that too, and if you are a non-technical person, then obviously, the first thing that you want to do is get acquainted, and then ask us any questions, and then propose to create a meetup in your local area, and then we'll go from there. The other way is for the, if you wanted to really take on the challenge, then we also have that training program that I mentioned earlier, which is every quarter. So you can apply for those and actually learn a lot about Elastos and go from there. So there's lots of directions that you can take to become an evangelist. Anyone can become an evangelist, no matter if you're a developer, non-developer, doesn't matter. We take everyone. Do you have anything to add, Clarence?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, hold on.
You already mentioned there's a sign up form on the Evangelist page. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, if you sign up there, I mean, well, right now there's the bandwidth. At least I can see there's already a few Empower 35 applications and Evangelist training applications, but we have the bandwidth for now at least. So get in early to actually just talk to each of you individually. Like KP and I will be happy to send you an email, discuss your background, see where you can fit in, see what maybe paths you can take to learn the background that you need to become an evangelist. And if most of us that come here are just motivated people, I think that's the best thing about this group is everyone has a lot of initiative. So if you're already on this live stream, you have the initiative. So just come to us and let's keep that relationship going.
Yeah, he also added a question. He asked if I want to be a developer, where should I start first, C++ or what?
Yeah, so yeah, okay, I see that question too. Yeah. So the question is, if I want to become a developer, what do I learn first? C++ or what? So I don't know if you're talking about developer in general or you wanted to write Elastos applications, but I'll just talk general and then I'll move on to Elastos, right? So developer is someone who develops code. Okay, he clarified. Developer for Elastos. I'll move on to developer for Elastos in a little bit, but if you've never coded before, I would just take up at least if you are thinking long term, like if you wanted to develop for Elastos, I would just look into JavaScript. Start from there because that is the core of our Trinity applications, the HTML5 applications, because we use the Ionic Cordova framework. So you can look into that. So in a sense, to answer your question, you don't have to start with C++ because there are layers of different kinds of developers. Like if you wanted to contribute to the core code, then yeah, it is like written in C++, Golang, and everything else, right? But if you're an application developer, if you only care about writing and pushing these applications out to other people, then you can just start with JavaScript. And then because we use Ionic Cordova framework, in the future, more will be supported. And we actually do have plans. We will be working that as part of the Cyber Republic community program. But at least right now, you would have to start with Ionic Cordova framework, which is JavaScript, the HTML5 applications that will be running inside Trinity browser. The other way, I guess, is you can also, because we'll be providing our SDK. So, if you already know how to write an Android application or an iOS application using Android, Java, or Swift, then you should also be able to get started pretty easily. But that's pretty much the long answer, really. In the future, if like we're thinking about providing support for other languages as well. And if you are interested as a developer, we would love to talk to you and build these frameworks and services on top of the core code. So it'll be really easy for new developers to come in and just, instead of learning a new language, you can just get started right away. So some of the things that we're looking into hasn't been decided yet, but just looking into this research stage still is maybe, in addition to supporting the Ionic Cordova framework, we can look into React Native for native applications, or Flutter, Dart for the same thing, for cross-platform native applications. There's a lot of routes to take, but that would be my answer.
Okay, next question I think I can answer. The crypto fan asked it, where are the resources Elastos have to enable more developers? Let's say I want to convert the current app to D app. what resources regarding to development do I find? Could you make all Elastos derived as an easy function or a base service? Actually, yes, it is something we are doing, but we do have some idea on that, but it doesn't mean we have something ready and we're going to release in the beta next few months. It's not something like that. But the idea is like this. So at the client side, we already have at least the Trinity ready, the front-end web application. So you can use your existing skill like React, Ionic, or Cordova. You can build the web application on Elastos. And for React Native, we are working on a framework as well. And on the server side, as Ron yesterday mentioned on the meetups on the ceremony, we are working on some idea like we have something random server running, like Lambda server. My personal have a name for that called a smart contract service, but probably we're gonna find a better name later. So that is the idea, like you can use your existing coding skill, coding language like Python, Java, C#, or Ruby, whatever, JavaScript. You just wrap your server code into some kind of Lambda function and put the function into our network. And there will be some random node will pick up the request and run the function request and return your result. Also, we can do some kind of random function and also including like BPFT to make sure that the answer is secure. So this is the idea. We can read some more detail later, but since it's we don't have too much time to talk in detail. So this is something we're thinking. Once we have that, it will be much easier for the traditional web developer, not web, app developer to convert the current front end or back end code from the traditional cloud-based architect to the decentralized Elastos operating system. So this is something we're working on. We don't have any like estimate when we can release yet, but just keep in touch. We'll give you some like idea once we got a solid POC. And also, I really want to invite all the developers, either you are online or watch the recording. If you also agree the idea, please contact us. We're looking for people to work together on this. This will be a really ambitious project. Anything you can add? No. Okay. What's next?
All right, I can ask this question. So maybe this is for Rong. Are there any people on the team whose sole focus is to research and determine the best crypto economic or tokenomics for Elastos? For instance, coming up with token demand models based off the planned utilities of the token, inflation, increased selling pressure from Cyber Republic projects and miners selling their tokens for funding. The Cyber Republic depends upon the token being valuable. So just wondering if that is in the back of your minds. Crypto economics is boring, but important.
Well, I only see part of the story because I think ELA is a utility token that said it's not only traded in the exchanges, but also we must find use cases in the Cyber Republic or on the smart web. That said, actually, I'm thinking something like you own your own data. So we're going to create personal cloud drives. I call it personal cloud computer model. Yesterday, I gave a talk about a slide of what I think is a personal cloud computer. That said, if you own your own data in your personal cloud computer, somehow most consumers doesn't know how to market their own data. So we sign up, we collaborate a project with Elastos DMA, which is decentralized marketing, because Elastos.org doesn't really have a cloud drive and doesn't have a wallet. So the proceeds from decentralized marketing will immediately dispatch to different service providers such as IPFS, the file system providers and marketers and the bandwidth providers and the organizers of some events. Along the same line, actually, I'm looking for decentralized exchanges, looking for people who could do decentralized exchanges. I'm also looking for like decentralized search engines. Basically, what's in my mind is that we're not going to issue like a bandwidth token or file tokens. We are actually trying to think of smart web being a bigger smart economy. So the proceeds actually come from consumers trading, and they have a need, right, for hiring marketer to themselves, hiring the organizers, search engines, if their merchandise want to be ranked among the top, but then the proceeds again, it's not going to Elastos or Cyber Republic, it's going to be dispensed to the service providers. But that's as a techie, as an engineer's point of view. As for economics, these algorithms, so what's the inflation, maybe talk to handphone for that matter. The question is about the token economics. What's the model for? Is there someone whose job is to, like an economist for the Cyber Republic?
Yeah. We believe the Elastos token economy based on their democracy of the Cyber Republic, because our vote based on the ELA holder. So in the next year, we will have the vote about the super node and the vote of the member of board of Cyber Republic. And last, I believe the ELA economy based on the digital asset become the forge or become wealth. We will exchange the digital works and digital assets on the Elastos operating system and the platform. It's really token economy of Elastos.
I'll add my 2 cents. And then, I'm a panelist. Yeah. Okay. Now it's my camera now. Okay, that doesn't matter, but that's fine. So I just wanted to add on, when we talk about crypto economics, that's a pretty new term that we have come up with in the community, because this sort of thing, I mean, it started with Bitcoin, and that started to get used as a transaction, right? In a decentralized manner, peer-to-peer. And then it moved on to Ethereum, and then all these ERC20 tokens. And then now there's ERC721, the non-fungible tokens. And these just keep on coming. And so the one thing to keep in mind is the reason that it's really hard to visualize the real value of a token, at least right now in the market right now, is because the only real use case for most of the tokens out there today is only to trade between each other's tokens. Like you're trading Bitcoin for some ERC20 token, and then you're just trading that back. So that's where the value for most of these tokens come from, because most of these projects, platforms that are trying to develop these applications don't have any sort of real life applications that a lot of users don't even want to bother using. So that's one of the reasons why it's very hard to come up with that mindset. So Elastos is trying to change that completely, right? Because if you think about it, everything is being decentralized, not just the technology side of things, but also the way that the coin should be used, the way that the governance should be made, like using Cyber Republic. So for all of these cases, ELA will be used, and for every single services that are offered in this Elastos ecosystem, ELA will be used and will continue to get used, because like who's going to provide those IPFS nodes? Like they need to get paid, and who's going to provide any sort of service? Because when you talk about decentralization, everything has a cost. Compared to that with centralization, you are letting someone else take care of everything for you. So you're getting all of those services, everything for free, but in return, they are taking everything away from you. So in a sense, they're, as Rang likes to say, they're the cartels of the internet. So that's one of the, so I feel like when we go beta, when we have lots of users, lots of applications being developed, real life applications that are decentralized, there will always be use case for Elastos. So instead of thinking about which exchange will have Ella tomorrow, or how it will what's the real use case? How will it be used? Because that is other projects are building their projects. That's it. Elastos is building an ecosystem. That's the most important thing. I feel like that has the value in the future, no matter how you look at it.
That's cool. That's cool. There's another question asking about the. Oh, I need to switch to me. Not sure how that switch. Not sure. Anyway, another question asks where they can find the documentation, because he said anything he can find is not enough, very limited, and also not developer friendly. In my point of view, yes and no. That's true that we currently do not have a lot of information, documentation, but actually we're working on it. Like KP and Rash, they actually did a lot of like a tutorial, especially for the early stage. If you want to try something like 101 something, and there are some information we actually can share. Where you can find all the information. I think KP, you have something to share, right? Like where they can find all the links to find the documentation, right? We're gonna put everything together in one place.
Yeah, so the goal is for us to use Cyber Republic as sort of the gateway into the Elastos world, because that is the job of Cyber Republic, right? We want to organize this new community that we're building. So in the future, we already have the developer portal, already available, but that's just the start. You'll be able to, we will also have lots and lots of new features on Cyber Republic, where we're actually also thinking about, again, this is just in its early stage, but maybe we can have something like a forum or something where, because right now we do have Reddit, Telegram, Twitter, all of that, but information is all over the place, and there's no way that we, the Cyber Republic community, are always, going to Reddit and then checking out different comments and things like that, right? So if we can organize that better using Cyber Republic, because we want everyone to come to Cyber Republic for everything that they need to know about Elastos, then, it would be much better. So something like ellanews.net, which is, shout out to one of our admins, TI, who built that website. He has been, he basically updates that website regularly with all the links, all the news and everything on the website. So that's one of the first new websites that you can check even right now, and it contains so much information. Everything that we've ever put out, it's there. And in the future, we want Cyber Republic to serve as a similar role, not just for the developer community, but also for all the resources, anything that you want to find in the future. You'll be able to use that. So that's the goal behind that. We also have upcoming weekly reports for Cyber Republic, where anytime so we basically provide you, if you sign up, and we encourage you all to sign up for the newsletter for Cyber Republic. I think last time I checked, it was only 40 people. So go ahead and sign up. So what we'll be doing is sometime after the anniversary, which is already happened. So sometime this week, we will start our first weekly report and then improve upon that, where we are describing the current progress of Cyber Republic, what is happening as far as the development side of things, not just on Cyber Republic, but also from the core team, and putting out and also maybe putting out news about all the community contributions and all the events that are coming up, that next week, and all the new tutorials, all the new demo apps that are available, anything to keep up with, where it'll be very, very easy to keep up, where we just send out a weekly newsletter to people who are subscribed to, if there's a new task for someone that creates, and there will be lots of these because of CR100 and Empower 35 program. starting, sometime next month. So we want to update the community with every single news that is available. So that's the idea behind, Cyber Republic. We literally want to be the one true source for everything that is going on in the Elastos ecosystem.
Okay, here's a short question. I hope to get a short answer. This is for Chenrong. The question was, are you still part of the development team, or are you at this point an evangelist?
I think right now I'm more of a evangelist. I haven't programmed for quite some time. So now I mostly help Kevin, Faye, and people doing meetups and writing some PowerPoints.
Okay, yeah. Well, the next one, since we have limited time, I'm going to pick one. This is it's no brain. Okay, you can see it clearly.
I think I understand the question. It's like it's no brain. Yeah, we rely on the app development, empowering to app developers. But my previous impression is that the toolkit SK is not developer fully ready. Can you make that more easy to use, like make carrier DID as a service or function? And I'll answer this one. So I jump on screen. Yeah, of course. So carrier DID, carrier isn't even meant to be used directly. That's kind of should be under the layer, like the runtime or even what build services on top of it that would, in the back call on the carrier. So yes, we definitely are going to make services that you can use. Like I always talk about, it'll be similar to AWS Cloud or Google Compute, where you can have services that are more developer friendly to use. They're not done yet. If you want to get anything done right now, I think you do have to use the runtime and or SDKs. But in the future, we'll definitely build these services, this API service level that will make it easier for developers to transition from a regular app development to Elastos development. Okay, how do you define, this one's a bit long. I don't think we're gonna do, one person asking, how do you define success for the upcoming 12 months from a technical, business, and community development perspective? I don't think I can do that in 2 minutes. Success though, I mean, I'll just talk briefly from my technical standpoint. I really do foresee we'll have apps in the next year, and after this event, we're all gonna go back home and really hammer out documentation and API services that we can, that other developers can leverage. So I think at this point with Empower 35 coming online, we're really gonna ramp up the speed that we develop these services exponentially. As soon as these SDKs from the core team are done, and in beta stage or something like solid and they're stable and reliable, then we can start building things on top of these without too many things changing, right? I don't know if does anyone want to talk about the business and community development long-term 12-month goals?
Maybe I can add my 2 cents. Actually, yesterday I was asked exactly the same question. What is our goal in 12 months or 3 years? At least what I can say is, as I mentioned during the ceremony yesterday, I hope we can set up a structure of the core team cooperate with Cyber Republic developer community. So at least for the framework and the documentation training material part, Cyber Republic can play a very important role there. And I hope the portion of the code contribution from the Cyber Republic will be more than half of the whole total code contribution. So that's my goal. In order to get that, we have to work very hard. Everybody, either you're online or watching the recording video, you need to apply to the Cyber Republic. We have a lot of things for you to do, and also also for our core team. So it's their responsibility to give us more documents on how we can use API for core code. So that is fundamental for the Cyber Republic developer to help. So that's very important. So that's my goal. Hopefully we can make it not 12 months, but 3 months. That's a short-term goal. Yeah,
okay. It's Donnie, so I'll answer Donnie's question. Maybe Rong Chen's better for this one, but I'll give my 2 cents. So the question is, what's the highlight from the last year that you want to say? My highlight is definitely the transition that this company has become a lot more global and it's opened up, become more open-minded, and is accepting people and the community into help develop it. And that's a huge transition for a lot of people. It's a big change for some people. So I think that's been the most progress.
Everybody give a one highlight.
That'll take too long, but
it's my highlight.
Ron can give his highlight.
It's my highlight, very quick. So my highlight is we actually, the Elastos Foundation gave up the 16 million ALA to the Cyber Republic so that we can set up a virtual country, virtual republic in cyberspace, like not managed by human, but managed by the citizen, by the law, code of as law. So that is never happened in the human history. So this is the most highlight I got from the first year anniversary.
I think I pretty much agree with you guys. Yeah, it's a transition from a more or less centralized like a company to a Elastos.org as an organization, then to the Cyber Republic. You can see the stages, right? Like 3 stages, and also technically speaking, actually the alpha really is even though it's very rough, but then pretty much you get the idea of a rough skeleton of this Elastos architecture coming along, actually, which make me very excited or relieved in a way, because literally the PowerPoint I gave, some slides of mine was dated back to 16 years ago. Now it's took too long, and it's coming to shapes really that make me very, very happy.
Well, you guys already stole all my points, so I don't really have anything to add. Other than, well, we're almost out of time here, but yeah, those are really good questions. I think this recap was turned out a lot better than yesterday because we had some technical difficulties yesterday. But thanks everyone for joining, and I don't know if Kevin has some of his words of wisdom before we close out.
No, I don't.
You don't?
Okay, that's fine.
Right.
Okay. Or give from the word of wisdom.
No. All right. Well, I guess thanks everyone for joining. Hope you have a good rest of your day or night, wherever you are. Thanks.